Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for coming. If you are watching in real time, then it is Wednesday, March 11th of 2026, and we are we are coming up on application season as far as finding out if we're accepted or not to colleges. So a lot of questions come along with that, and so that's why we are having this webinar. So to introduce myself, my name is Carla Whitaker. I work for Cal SOAP, of California and of San Diego and Imperial counties, the California Student Opportunity and Access Program. To start off, just to let you know that this is being recorded. You will have access as of tomorrow on our website. You'll have access to a YouTube link of this recording so that you can watch it later, fast forward to a part that you are specifically interested in, or you could share the link with friends and family. And also the slide deck that I'm going to be sharing will also be available. So you will have access to this recording and you will have access to the slide deck. You'll also notice that if you look in the chat, you're not actually able to type in the chat, but I do have a student college readiness coach who's here, and she will sometimes be dropping things like links to websites or helpful information into that chat so that you can view it. But if you do have questions as we roll along, the best thing to do is to ask them in the Q&A. So probably depending on if you're joining from a device like a phone or a tablet or a laptop, maybe down at the bottom, if you tap it, you might see three dots that say more, or you might see something that just says Q&A. So to find the Q&A, you just tap it or click it. And then if you have a question, you can ask it. And by the way, you can ask questions anonymously or with your own name, whatever you prefer. And we will do our best to answer them. So if the other Carla, if she's able to answer them typing them in, she's going to do that. And if not, she will ask me the question out loud so that I can address it for everybody in attendance. And let me see 1 second. I like to start because I know I'm going to launch into a lot of information, but I like to start with kind of, we'll call it like a hot tip for everybody. And this is an Instagram that I'm pasting. It's a college consultant. His name is Harlan Cohen, and he has some really excellent advice. I definitely encourage students and parents to follow him for advice about high school and college and the admissions process, the financial aid process, and also just a lot of life lessons about adulting and that transition from high school into college. And if I can, I'm going to actually share a brief clip of his that I think is very pertinent this time of year. So give me a moment and I'm going to share his audio on that. One moment.
Dear high school senior, in the coming days, weeks, and months, some of you are going to get accepted to college, and it will feel very good. The overwhelming majority of you are going to get rejected from one or more colleges. It might feel very bad. When you get rejected, many of you are going to feel like you are not as talented, not good enough, or that you wasted your time working so hard to try and get in. But none of this is true. You can be the best, the brightest, the most qualified, and most deserving, and you will not always get what you want. All this means is that you get to live your dreams somewhere else, and you will. See, wherever you go, you're going to be exceptional. Wherever you land, you will live an extraordinary life. A school does not determine your future. You do. One day, you will look back at this moment and see it as a gift. This is the moment you took control of your life and stopped depending on others to make your dreams come true. You are the creator of your dreams. You have always been the creator of your dreams. You will always be the creator of your dreams. Always remember this. Grateful to be in your corner, Harlan.
All right, so that's just something that I like to share. That sentiment is something that I agree with, and he's a fantastic college coach. And I'm sure while he's available for hire, the free advice that he gives through his social media channels, his webinars, his posts, and everything have always been very helpful. So I like to start out with a little bit of that. Okay, so once again, we're recording this. It's going to be posted on calsoapsandiego.org, the webinars and blog section starting tomorrow, and that will be available as well as the slide deck. Carla Morales is monitoring the Q&A, and so she's going to try to answer any questions that you have in there by typing the answers to you or elevating the question to me so I can answer it out loud. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and share my slide deck and get started, and we'll take off, and hopefully this will go quickly and I won't have to keep you here all night. Okay, one moment. All right. So the title of this webinar is So You've Been Accepted, but Now What? All right. These are some of the many things that you probably have dealt with or are going to be dealing with your senior year. And I say dealing with, not like that they're all problems, but it's a lot to balance. It's a lot to juggle, right? You've maybe had to do applications, financial aid forms like the FAFSA or the CSS. Maybe you've had to fill out scholarships. Meanwhile, you have your own social life and are probably thinking about prom and things like that. And now is the time when you're starting to get like acceptance offers and decline offers. You might be asked to, submit an intent to register. You might be getting financial aid award packages. You might have to worry about placement tests, decisions, meal plans, residence halls, sending transcripts. All of that is a lot. So senior year is exciting, but we're going to cover in this, okay, well, what do I do now? What do I do next? And how do I do that transition to the next step, which is most likely going to be college. If you're interested in college, that's probably why you're here on this webinar. So a couple of things that seniors might be feeling right now is you do have a fear of rejection, right? There's also a fear of making decisions like which college do I pick? Which major do I pick? Where's the best place to live? What should I sign up for my first quarter or first semester of classes? And also, if you happen to be leaving home, there is some newfound independence there, which can be exciting, but also that can cause some anxiety and some fear. There's also, this is a huge one, is fear of finances, that college is expensive. You might not have the money and you might not want to burden your parents with trying to figure out the money. So all of this is things that you might be feeling. Even fear of like that you can't do it, but also even fear that you can, like, how are you going to be a small fish in a big pond, a big fish in a small pond? What's it going to be like? You don't know yet. So there's this fear of the unknown, and that's life. And that's something that can be unsettling, but it can also be really exciting as well. I just want people to know that all these feelings are natural. Nobody has it all figured out. Nobody has all the answers. This is something that I'm going to try to help you with resources, but it's something that you'll be figuring out soon. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is how do you select where you're ultimately going to go to college? Okay, well, let's do a check-in. Where are you today in March? If you plan to attend a four-year university as a freshman, like right now, this fall, then you're actually close to the intent to register deadline. Most colleges want you to let them know before or on May 1st, hey, are you going to come here? We need to plan and need to know whether you're going to come here or not. Also, you might or might not have received a financial aid award package from the college. If not, it's probably coming in April if you were accepted to a four-year college or university. This is also a time you're going to be receiving many emails, maybe even daily. Sometimes you struggle with how am I going to wade through all this? How am I going to make a decision? You might feel a little over it, but I'm going to try to help you out with some resources. So the first thing you want to do, and what I think is maybe one of the most important things when you're deciding on which college to go to, is your major. Think about what college has the major or minor you want. Also, it's often perfectly fine to apply as undeclared or undecided. It depends on the college, but honestly, about half of college students change their major once, twice, maybe even three times, and you have time to do that. So don't feel like if I'm stuck with it for 4 years. As you're taking your lower division classes, you do actually have a lot of time that you can change your mind if you would like to. Also think, were you admitted in your first choice major or your second choice major? What's the likelihood that you can change into that major later on? For some people, the school itself is the most important thing. For some people, it's the major that's the most important thing. So you have to make that decision for you. What is most important to me? And just remember that your final decision on what you're going to major in, it can often wait until your junior and sometimes even your senior year of undergraduate college. So I don't want people to feel like, okay, if I'm choosing something now at age 17 in 12th grade, that's it, it's over. I can't change my mind for 4 years. You can change your mind. If you want to search like which colleges have which majors, you might have already done this, but ONET is a great resource. It's a good website for that. A Big Future that's administrated by College Board is a good one. And also mymajors.com, which lists which colleges have which majors and also which majors align with which careers. Okay, so you have to decide, what is my make or break criteria? Is it important to me if it's a public or private institution? Is it important to me if it's like a vocational, hands-on, or specialized type of school? Is it important to me that it's a 4-year university, a 2-year community college? Is it important to me what degrees they offer or what degrees I plan to get? Like, do they offer associates or bachelor's or master's? And keep in mind, if you go somewhere for your associates, you can transfer somewhere else for your bachelor's. And if you get your bachelor's somewhere, you can also apply after you graduate for a master's or a doctorate in a different college or university. You don't have to go to undergraduate college and then go to the same thing for graduate. You can definitely switch. Um, think about what is the academic focus of that campus, what students and majors are popular there, and are considered quality. What is their general education? Like, is it individualized where you can choose your own thing, or is it very structured? How are their graduation rates? Do most students graduate on average, in 4 years there, or 4.5 years, or 5 years? That might be important to you if you want to get through quickly. And some people do, and some people doesn't matter if it's quick or not. Also, you might think about large or small classes. Some people are much more comfortable in a smaller class size. Other people are very comfortable just kind of being anonymous in a large lecture hall, and they can absorb the information that way. Think about the faculty, the teachers there. How many are there? What are their backgrounds? How are they distributed throughout departments that you're interested in? And also, you can ask, although this is subjective, but you can look up their national rankings. You can look up alumni advice, or ask alums who have graduated from that college, what was it like? What do you think of it? And a lot of this stuff is online and is on social media if you want to dive into it. But your own instinct is the most important, more really than anybody else's opinion. Other things that might be part of your criteria are, where is this college geographically located? Is it close or far from home? Is it in state or out of state? Is it easy to travel to? Would you be traveling by car or by plane? If it's by plane, do we have the funds for plane tickets and that type of thing? Think about the campus itself and the community setting. Like, is it urban? Is it rural? Is it suburban? Is it a safe campus? All campuses there have a police department that are required to publish an annual safety report about crimes on campus. What resources are there? Like, are there stores there? Are there cafeterias and restaurants, residential areas? Maybe it's important to you that there's a local worship service that aligns with your faith, or a sports or a park system, or the beach, or whatever it might be. Also, housing. Do they guarantee housing for freshmen? Do they require you to live on campus your freshman year? Those are things that can be important in making a decision. Some other things that might be important to you are gender specific. Like, sometimes there might be like a women's college. It could be a historically Black college or university. We also have something called HSIs, which are Hispanic serving institutions. Maybe the diversity of the student body is important to you. Maybe the type of food they have there. I mean, think about it. If you eat 3 times a day, you want to go somewhere where you like the food. So if you have a need or a restriction or a special diet, like it's halal, it's kosher, maybe it's allergy friendly, maybe it's vegan or vegetarian, look up that campus or that community and find out what they have. Maybe you are military bound and it's really important to you that this campus has an ROTC or some type of military affiliation. And also, it might be important for you, like what's on campus? Do they have libraries? Do they have computer labs? Do they have social quads? Maybe you have a learning disability and you want to make sure they have a good disability services department. And if you have an IEP, that might be something you can look into because you can get accommodations in colleges. Maybe it's important to you that they have mental health counseling or a great student health center or something like that. So those are things to also consider. For some people, extracurriculars are really important, like sports, either playing them or attending them. Are they division one, two, or three in a certain sport that you love? Maybe that you want creative or performing arts there, like theater, music, dance, design. Maybe you're interested in the clubs that are there or the social life that's there. Maybe you're interested in a fraternity, a sorority, Greek life, associated student body, things like that. And then, of course, the financial is a big part of it. This is a financial decision. It's not just an academic decision. It's not just a social decision. It is also a financial decision. And so you want to treat it like you treat a business decision about buying a car or purchasing a home or something like that. If you're going to invest this money, you need to make sure you get an ROI, a return on your investment. So think about the tuition and fees at the college. What is it going to cost to live there, like whether it's on or off campus, like rent, food, books and supplies, and basic living costs. And then consider, okay, what financial aid package are they offering? And those usually come out this month, like in the next couple months. Are you getting any federal or state grants, like if you filled out the FAFSA or DREAM Act? Maybe you're getting a campus grant from the college itself. Maybe you're getting scholarships. Maybe you're considering loans. Maybe you're considering your own savings or working. But all of that is part of what goes into the decision. If you're looking to compare costs between different colleges, a really great tool that I recommend all the time is from an organization called You Aspire, and they have the You Aspire College Cost Calculator. So, and Carla, if you happen to find that online and can copy it and paste it into the chat, that would be great. But You Aspire College Cost Calculator gives a really good way to compare apples to apples, so to speak, that lets you enter different colleges and then give you a realistic idea of first the cost of just tuition and then the total cost, estimated cost of attendance at those colleges. So that's a good way if you're bargain shopping, right? You want to buy the things on sale. You want to get the best deals. That's not the only part of your decision, but it's part of it. So a kind of college cost calculator can be helpful in that. Okay. So when you're thinking about what is my wish list? You might have a long wish list, but you have to start kind of ordering those priorities like, hey, what's the most important? What thing do I absolutely have to have versus it would be nice? Okay. And you have to research. You can go to campus and visit there. They have a lot of drone footage now and a lot of virtual visits to campus, a lot of things online where it's almost as good as visiting the actual campus. Um, there are third-party websites like College Board, Big Future, College Scorecard, things like that. You can attend college fairs, talk to graduates and alums, ask your high school counselors and teachers, advisors, look and see what was the school profile for this college in 2025, like, and it'll tell you, oh, well, the freshman class had this many women versus men, or this was the number of students, this was the breakdown of ethnicities or socioeconomic levels, or how many of those class were student athletes, or whatever it might be that's important to you. Um, and think about current students' perspectives about the campus. Students are constantly posting about their experiences in college. And so there's probably a lot of social media accounts you can follow from these colleges to find that out. And as I mentioned before, the schools also have to publish reports on campus safety every year. Okay, the next step is the selection. So think about what's my most important criteria. Now you are the shopper, you are the buyer, you are the customer. So it's time to go shopping. And by the way, don't be hesitant to use AI or Chat GPT to search and ask it questions about what is the best college for me. So you might need to be very specific, like, hey, Chat GPT, I'm looking for colleges that are less well known, but have exceptional opportunities in engineering. Please include smaller or hidden gems. I want to focus on like the Southwest or the East Coast or the wherever. Please exclude this or that, or please include this or that. And ChatGPT will often be pretty helpful. Okay, so just consider that that's one of the things you could do. I want to show you some examples of what priorities might be important to different students. And the reason I'm showing this is not to say, hey, student one has the best priorities or student three's priorities are really messed up. These are all completely different lists, but they are all equal in terms of this is what's important to you. So consider not necessarily what's important to everybody else in the world or what you've heard or what your friends have said or what someone's pressuring you to do. Think about what's important to you. So maybe you are like student one, where it's really important for you to be close to home. Maybe you're even going to live at home during college. Maybe it's very important to you that you're not going to borrow money and you want it to be a college you can afford to attend without taking loans. And maybe you want to be accepted to your top choice major. Awesome. Let's see student number two. Let's say they're interested in a historically Black college or university. They're also looking for a top ranked business program because they plan to major in something business related. And for them, it's really important to have a vegetarian friendly dining option on campus. Now, let's say student three, they are looking for an excellent music department. They also have a learning disability, so they're looking for a disabilities accommodations department that will work with them. And for them, they really are into sports, and so they're looking at certain popular sports teams. Again, all three of these are awesome priorities because they're individual to the students. And I want you to feel that sense of empowerment, like, okay, what are my priorities? What's important to me? And that's how you should choose. Okay. Campus visits are the best way to get a real feel for the campus. So if you can experience that by like taking a campus tour, sometimes you can even see a dorm or talk to the students. Maybe sometimes you can sit in on a class. They might have in-person or virtual tours. Acquaint yourself with as much as you can if you're really interested in that campus. Sometimes even doing things like reading their student newspaper or their social media posts from, say, like their admissions department or their ASB or whatever it happens to be you're interested in. Okay. All right, now's when we talk about money and consider money. So while you're waiting to hear back from campuses, you want to apply for as much financial aid as you need. I'm sorry, that deadline is wrong. That was last year. March 2nd was actually the priority deadline in California for the FAFSA and DREAM Act. If you're going to a community college, you actually have until September 2nd. But if you're getting California-based funds like a Cal grant or a middle class scholarship, March 2nd was a really important deadline. If you've missed it though, the form is still open and you can still qualify for aid possibly, depending on your financial situation. It's just that the California priority deadline was March 2nd. For private schools, you might have needed to fill out a CSS profile. And then another thing to do is beyond just like state, federal, and institutional money, there are outside scholarships that you probably want to be applying for. We at CalSoap San Diego, we have a scholarship information tab on our website, and we try to list those chronologically by due date. So I really encourage you to look that up. And some other good scholarship websites are FastWeb, scholarships.com, and muldef.org. Those are some good places to start. Okay, what if you've already filled out your FAFSA or your DREAM Act? Now it's time to create what we call a Web Grants for Students account if you're going to college anywhere in California or if that's a possibility. So your Web Grants for Students account is where you'll be able to view and accept if you're getting a Cal Grant Award, if you're getting a middle class scholarship, if you happen to qualify for a Cal Kids scholarship, that's all going to be housed there in Web Grants for Students. So it's really important that you create one if you're planning to go to college anywhere in California. Okay. If you're going out of state or out of the country, that's not something you necessarily need. All right, so now it's time for mail. I know very seldom do we get mail in the actual, paper mail anymore, but you're going to be getting emails and messages probably from college admissions offices. If it's a four-year university, usually they're starting to release their decisions anytime between December through March is a really big one. Most colleges are going to release decisions in March, maybe some as late as April or June if you applied later, but a lot of college admissions decisions are coming out this month. Make sure each campus sends you a financial aid package in order to better inform your decision process. Because if it's April and you've got to make a decision by May 1st, you need to know the financial options. So this is when you have family talks about what are our choices, what's our financial situation, what's the best choice for this student. Okay, now look at if you're getting acceptance letters, then look at the requirements. It is a provisional acceptance, and really ask yourself, do you see yourself graduating from this college? Okay. Um, Consider your own social and emotional well-being. Is it important for you, for example, to remain close to home and family? And also review the financial aid award. What's their cost of attendance versus how much financial aid you're getting? Can you afford this campus not just for 1 year, but for 2 years if it's a two-year college, or for 4 years if you're aiming for a bachelor's? Okay. This is a sample. Unfortunately, there's no national standard about what a college's financial aid award letter has to look like. So they all look a little different, but hopefully they will all look something like this, where they'll list maybe the financial aid you're receiving. Like this student, for example, for one school year, they're going to be receiving almost $40,000. And you can see how that breaks down between fall and spring semester. You can see that they're getting a faculty scholarship, a Pell Grant, some loans are also included in that. So this is not all gift aid. Some of it is borrowing aid, but that's the aid that they've been offered. However, their cost of attendance at this college is $61,000. And you can see like how much of that is fall and spring tuition, fees, room, meals, and then other indirect costs that they are just estimating, like books and transportation and so forth. So now they're saying, hey, after we applied this 40,000 in financial aid, you still would owe us $21,000 for this year. Okay, above and beyond the aid that we've offered you above. So then they're going to give you options. Do you want to do this in 10 payments for the 10 months of school? If you do, that's going to be more than $2,000 a month. If you want to split it into 12-month payments, it's going to be about $1,800 a month. And then you'll notice this student also was offered $2,500 of work study, which means they could earn another $2,500 in a part-time job on campus. So that would be part of the paying for it. So say that they're going to accept this work study and get a job, but they're still owing $19,000 and they're still borrowing with some loans. Are they going to be able to borrow another $19,000 in loans every year? Again, that's a family decision that you have to talk about and think about. Okay. Because sometimes it's not just about the sticker price and the total cost. It's about how much financial aid a college is offering you and that you're coming in with scholarships and so forth. So these are all things that you have to plan for and consider. Oh, these are just examples of other financial aid letters from other universities. And this is not so you can see the details. It's just to show you there's no standard letter. They all look a little bit different. If you'd like, I have this available for download. It's just like a financial aid comparison chart where you have like college 1, 2, 3, whatever, and then you can compare the tuition at each, the room and board at each, the books and so forth, and then also keep track of your own financial aid at each. Okay. Now, once you've made your decision, hopefully it's a happy time and you can select your campus choice, and then you'll submit what they sometimes call an accept your offer or an SAR, a statement of intent to register, by the deadline requested by your specific college. Sometimes it's May 1st. For many universities, four-year universities, if you're going there as a freshman, May 1st is often their deadline. Okay. If it is, say, like, for example, a community college, they might have a later deadline. Now you have to make sure you're remaining up to date. You're logging into your college portals. They're going to give you a college student ID. Any important messages will come through that portal. Okay. So if there's any paperwork they're requesting about housing, like maybe if you're going to live on campus, they might request, say, like a $400 housing deposit by May 1st. So consider that. Maybe they are saying, here's the date of orientation, and orientation is required. Here's when you're going to be registering for classes, or, oh, you need a placement exam, or you need to give us proof that you can pass out of the placement exam. Are there maybe any supplementary forms they're asking for, or any campus-based financial aid forms? So those are the things you'll be looking for in that college portal. This is a question we get a lot at this time of year because it does happen. Sometimes students are not accepted outright. Sometimes they're waitlisted, or sometimes they're denied admittance. Okay. The first thing I would say is if you're waitlisted, read that letter carefully, even if it's online. You may need to do something like opt in. Like they might say, you're on the waiting list. If you still want to be considered for UCSD or whatever college, please opt in here. And it's pretty simple. You just like click a box and hit submit, but that lets them know, hey, I'm still interested. And if room comes available, I do want to be taken off the wait list and move to the accepted list. So if you need to opt in, make sure you opt in by the deadline if you're still interested in that college. So there are situations where waitlisted students are later on accepted, or maybe accepted for a later quarter or semester. If you are denied admittance, and this is really hard for you to accept, and you don't think it's right or true, the other thing you can do is appeal the decision. Okay. Every campus has an appeals process. Some colleges, it's an online process. Some colleges, you have to make an appointment. A lot of times you'd have to provide new information that was not already included on your application. And again, you still might be denied that appeal, but that is one thing you can do. You could also accept at another campus if you're offered admission at a different campus. And sometimes people say, you know what, if this is still my dream college, I'm coming here no matter what. I'm going to actually go to a community college and go there for 2 years and apply to transfer here, because your odds of being admitted as a transfer student are actually higher than being admitted as a freshman. Just because a lot of people start off college and life happens and they don't maybe make it all the way to junior year or that type of thing. So sometimes people choose to go the transfer route instead, which means you'd be filling out a community college application around this time. They're all open right now, the community college applications for fall 2026. Here's another question we sometimes get. Can a college take back my acceptance? Like, I noticed this wording about this is a provisional acceptance. What does that mean? Can they take it away? And yes, they can take your acceptance away. And these are the common reasons why that it's rare, but it does sometimes happen. If you don't adhere to the conditions stated in your letter of acceptance, I know this sounds strict, but there are colleges, especially private colleges, that have a certain code of conduct. And say, for example, they see something offensive on your social media post that's pointed out to them, and it does not go along with their code of conduct, they are allowed to rescind your acceptance for that reason. If you don't respond to requests from them, like if they've sent you an email saying, hey, we need proof that you took this test, or we need proof of your transcript, and you don't ever respond, or maybe it's like, we need proof of your residency status or your parental income or something like that, you have to respond to those requests if they come directly from the college. Also, if you don't pay a fee, like if they charge an intent to register fee or a housing deposit, that can affect your acceptance. Or, well, in the case of housing, it wouldn't affect your acceptance. It would affect your ability to get housing. But in the case of intent to register, if they have a fee for that, by the way, that fee can sometimes be paid by financial aid, but usually you have to pay it up front and get reimbursed later by financial aid. not communicating with the campus, not notifying them, oops, I received a D or an F in a class after I applied. Like I didn't know this when I applied in November, but I did get a D in math my first semester or something like that. And also, if your final transcript does not match the original application, like you said that you took AP US history, but your transcript does not say, it says you took regular history, something like that. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the slide deck, and then I just want to open it up for any questions you might have. But a few final tips is if you can visit that campus beforehand, it's great. And if you can't do it in person, try to do it online. Don't just rely on reputation and what you've heard. Think about what's the best fit for you. Sometimes people will say this school is so hard to get into, or this school is so expensive, or oh, that's a party school. But do your own research and find out what's right for you. Be willing to go to any college on your list, okay? And don't pick a campus only because your friends are going there or your girlfriend or boyfriend. Also, make a decision for yourself. And don't rule out a college because of cost alone. Consider like, well, what is the cost if I'm getting financial aid and how much financial aid am I getting? If you're not getting enough financial aid and scholarships and things like that, then you might have to make that hard decision to go to a less expensive campus. All right. And talk with your family, your teachers, your counselors, your parents. Everybody's there to help you. So hopefully you'll make a decision that's great for you. Some final reminders for students. Your feelings are natural. You and all your peers are facing a time of great change right now. There's no such thing as being perfect. Okay. There's no such thing as a perfect college or a perfect major or a perfect financial aid package. Sometimes social media posts aren't really about your life, they're about somebody else's life. So don't worry about a perfect image. Okay. I'd also suggest the chunking method, which means break things down into small, manageable chunks. If all you can handle today is, opening your college portal and creating your username and password, then do that today and have a different task for tomorrow. Like, okay, well, tomorrow I'll start looking at my financial aid letter. And next week, my family and I are going to schedule a conversation. So don't try to do everything at once. Take a calendar and make it into small, manageable chunks. Guardians and parents, your support equals student support. And thank you for everything that you do supporting them in this process. And I want to remind people to celebrate these new beginnings, but process that this is also an ending to a certain chapter in your life. So hopefully you're ending high school with celebration and joy. And it's something that you might be really overjoyed about this big change. You might be really scared. You might be feeling a little bit of both, but everybody else is also feeling the same things. And so I just wanted to tell people, you do you, and your feelings are valid and they're natural. We are CalSoap. We're at calsoapsandiego.org. We have a lot of resources there to hopefully help you out, including links to some of these websites that I mentioned. We have a scholarship information database that has a lot of local San Diego area scholarships. ONET is great for occupation and job searches. Big Future at College Board is really great for everything college related. My Majors is just what it sounds like, specific to researching majors. The U Aspire College Cost Calculator is great. And then if you're going to school in California, after filling out a FAFSA or a DREAM Act, you do want to make sure that you fill out a Web Grants for Students account as well. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. And I see, thank you, Carly. You've done a great job of putting links in the chat, so I appreciate that very much. Is there anything in the Q&A that hasn't been answered yet that people asked? Hey, I don't see anything. All right. So what I'm going to do is just thank people, students, thank you for your hard work. Parents, thank you for your very, very hard work, and guardians and school staff and counselors and everybody like that. Again, I'm excited for this time. I know it can cause a lot of stress, and hopefully you got some good resources. We will be posting this on calsoapsandiego.org starting tomorrow, along with the slide deck. So you should be able to access both the recording and the slides. And a big thank you to Carla for monitoring. I appreciate everybody for being here, and we'll go ahead and end the webinar now. Thank you, everybody.